next is, again, we have a fireside chat where we'll talk about elevate and accelerate strategies for upscaling tech services. In this session, we'll unravel key strategies to drive your tech services to new heights, exploring innovative approaches to upscaling in a rapid, evolving digital landscape. Join us as we delve into actionable insights, best practices, and success stories that will empower your organization to not just keep up the surge ahead in the dynamic realm of technology services, but also get ready to elevate your capabilities and accelerate towards unparalleled success. I would like to welcome Sidharth Umrani, who is a delivery head of cloud infrastructure at Persistent, and he's also associate VP at Persistent. He has been extensive experience in banking and insurance domain. The next speaker is Sunita Kishnani, who is Chief Marketing Officer at Softude. She possesses 25-year experience and a seasoned marketing leader. Sunita also holds position of Independent Director at Just Engineering Limited. She is also recognized as ET Most Promising Tech Marketer of 2022. I would like to welcome Sidharth and Sunita on the stage.
Thank you so much, NESCOM, for this opportunity to host this important conversation, especially keeping in mind Indore, where we have a lot of SME companies here, and it's important to understand and learn from our big companies like Persistent. Sidharth is with me, and he's from Persistent, and companies from Indore also like Infobins, like how they have been able to come up and come out through all the challenges and be here where they are today. So before we get into conversation with Sidharth, I would like to share some numbers with you. So when we talk about SME segment we should be proud of. In fact, I am also working for a SME company, Softude. And SME segment is giving employment to 62 million people. And annually, we are creating 8 million jobs. So this is a big number. We are contributing to creating jobs, and it is the place from where the innovation actually happens. Because when you achieve a size, it's really difficult to focus on innovation or something to do new. But when you are at a stage where it's small, there's a lot that you can experiment and come out with. So I would like to share, I would like to discuss and share a few things, starting with Sidharth. The first thing that the company like us faces is like, if you can share some of the challenges that SMEs face in current scenario and how technology can help them to overcome these challenges.
Yep. Thanks, Sunita. Thanks, NASCOM, for giving this opportunity. What I would like to say is in the current market, it's very tough. Even for large companies, there are so much headwinds. And especially in this environment, from a SME point of view, probably the biggest challenge that comes across is around the talent acquisition and retention. And it's very important to get the right people in the organization which will fuel the growth. People have become smarter. They are also looking at experience while the recruitment process is on. So it's very important to use the right tools and softwares which are available in the market for end-to-end seamless experience for the talent that you're being interviewed. Now, post the onboarding, right, it's also equally important to retain the people in the organization, and the only way there is to provide that continuous opportunity for development and training to those individuals. Apart from that, I would suggest we also, in Persistent, we use tools like Peacon for a very regular employee feedback. It's a monthly frequency where you hear back from the employees. There's a feedback, there's a sentiment which is captured, and it gets actioned. So these things help us with retaining the people. Now, the next one probably would be around adopting new technologies. So we talked about artificial intelligence and chat GPT and all these new skills, blockchain. There are so many things which come up. For a small enterprise, it could be really challenging to find the right people in those areas or have the right strategies. So for that, I would probably suggest around having a collaborative approach, tying up with some training agencies, or there are many small startups or companies which cater to niche products or technologies. Good to collaborate with them. We heard that in the Disha talk as well, where you need to keep your focus. So if you don't have the skill or you need that, it's better to collaborate with somebody who has that kind of a skill. The third would be the global competition. It's very tough with the large companies and even some of the startups which are vying for the business space. No business, nobody wants to leave money on the table. So it's very tough. So in that scenario, it's important to create a good visibility of your company. And you could use many of the digital marketing channels and social media for creating that visibility globally and reach out to maximum customers. So that's another way of dealing with the challenges. Next, I would talk about something very different. There's a cyber security is becoming a big problem these days. And from a persistent point of view, we give it the highest focus as well. Why does that become a blocker for SMEs now? Because if you don't focus on it and you are leaving your customers exposed or vulnerable, that is not going to work out very well in terms of a reputation in the market. So investing in the right tools for the cyber security is equally critical for SMEs to maintain those challenges. And then of course you have things like customer trust and creating a reputation. Again, there are digital channels, there are reputation management firms, or there are social media experts who can help you with that. From a customer point of view, you need to have a robust CRM system which will keep track of the customers' feedback, the various things that they are looking at, etc., and give them a good holistic experience. I think in my experience, all these things will probably help SMEs to overcome some of the challenges.
Yeah, very rightly said. But my experience has been different, especially with the Indian SMEs. I think tech is something that is, sidelined. So unless and until, they will really feel the pain that, this thing is not happening, they will not open up their pocket. So it's really important that we need to realize that technology can enable faster processes and optimize a lot of operations to scale up. I have the second question, which is very interesting. Persistent Systems recently achieved $1 billion mark. So, and I read somewhere that this was made possible in just last 3 years.
Yes.
So what were the strategic changes that Persistent, brought in to achieve this?
Right. So, rightly said, Persistent recorded around 35% annual growth last year, and we did that on back of another 35% growth the year before. Overall, if you see, since we went public, the CAGR has been around 17.5%, which is amongst the topmost in the industry sector or the level at which Persistent plays. Now, what have we done differently to actually do that in the last 3 years, as you said? So I'll cover some of the orbit-related discussions which Dr. Anand Deshpande has been talking about in a while, but predominantly there are 4 pillars around which this success can be attributed to. One is, of course, our capabilities on the digital engineering side. Second being the ecosystem that we bring to our customers. Third is the 23,000 strong global workforce that we have. And fourthly, ESG, which we just heard about earlier. And that has been one of the key agenda items on Persistent in last 3 years as well. If you look at the digital engineering part, Persistent has been known for the product engineering capabilities and strengths always. So what we've done is we've married that with the digital transformation engagements, and that has given rise to this term digital engineering, where we are able to bring our core strengths as well as the new requirements in the market for a transformative experience to the customer. Secondly, from an ecosystem point of view, we've got a very strong sales channel. We have our direct sales teams. Along with that, we have partnerships with a lot of leading companies like AWS, Azure. So we're betting big on all the hyperscalers. It's a publicly stated objective. Salesforce, IBM, Microsoft, Azure, GCP, and AWS are the fulcrum on which we are building the future for our company. Along with that, we've tapped some unusual channels as well, like the private equity channels. So being associated with them, they are able to introduce us to their group companies, and that is helping us. Along with that, there are advisors in the market who talk about large deals. So these are people who go and advise our customers about how to go about the large deals. So all this ecosystem is actually helping us work on improving our bookings and the pipeline. The next thing is about the employees, which I mentioned. It's not easy to manage a 23,000 strong workforce, and that too growing every day at a very fast clip. It's important to focus on their well-being and their health. So the policies that we have in terms of people are very, very focused on the people. We rolled out a ESOP about 1.5 years ago, which covered almost 80% of the workforce. I don't think anybody else has tried that, but that's something which has worked very well. And you look at the celebrations and other aspects as well. The $1 billion gifts, you must have seen it on LinkedIn, the social blitz. Whenever I am doing recruitment for even senior people, the first thing that they talk about is, yes, we've seen it. We feel the people centricity that is there on the Persistent side. And lastly, about the ESG charter, it is very important because many of our customers take it very seriously. Those are some of the things which can differentiate you when you are in a competitive scenario. You have two companies vying for the same piece of business. Sometimes the customer stakeholders do give importance to your ESG charter and what you've done. So 2 years, since last 2 years, we formalized our charter at Persistent, and we are publishing the report on an annual basis. So these are few things which have actually helped us to grow much faster than what we did initially.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing this insight. In fact, I would like to add upon, like, the startups, there's a difficult task for them to even attract the talent and retain, but they need it. So as he said that, employees have to be a part of your business, and with all these ESOP options, if you are incorporating them into your business goals, then definitely the success lies there. So that's the important thing. The next question that I have for you is, we have been hearing about customer centricity. So SMEs, how can SMEs become more customer centric? Any strategy or advice? What role does technology play in it?
Right. So yeah, technology has a big role to play in customer centricity. Now, there are two ways in which you can look at customer centricity. One is first part about the customer relationships, how you manage, how you handle that. So the CRM systems actually, it's a very critical aspect. It was touched in the mentorship session as well. That basically keeps a track of your customers' feedback, their demands, etc., in a very centralized way, and frees up your sales force or your employee base to focus on actually delivering the value to the customers. So CRM tools are important for tracking the opportunities and the contract management. It gives a seamless experience to the customers. Secondly, I would say around the customer feedback and the intelligence which is available around the customers. So there are some reports available in the market. You don't need to do anything specific. I can quote drop report, which gives you an inside view of a customer, where they are in their journey, what are their IT spends, budgets, what competition is already there, and what are the next strategic initiatives that these companies are embarking on. Basically, that gives you an opportunity to personalize things, make it very focused and relevant to the customer when you are bidding for new business or talking. So that's part of a customer centricity initiative. The other things are on the delivery side. I would say it's very important to have a robust agile and DevOps strategy. All customers these days value time to market, so it is important that you are able to deliver at a very fast clip based on the customer's requirements. Also, it needs an iterative approach where customers are able to adjust as per that. So that's something very important, and it can be achieved with all the right tool sets that you use. The next thing I would say again is around the cyber security. I'll repeat that part because customers are, I've seen examples where there have been ransomware attacks and then the customer is impacted for almost 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and that's a big drain on the customer. So if as an organization you are taking care to train your employees on the cyber awareness and risks, threats, and taking care that you're not exposing your customer to those risks, that again goes a long way in your customer centricity. Then lastly, on the skill sets, of course the customers need all the emerging technologies, so you need to have a very wide learning and development program for your teams. That basically helps you to keep abreast of what demand the customer is going to have and deliver better value to the customers. And finally, I would say in today's market, the customers expect that we don't have to be told what needs to be done, or we want the problems to be arrested at source. So from that point of view, you have so much happening in the analytics and the monitoring space. So the right set of tools actually can give you insights into the customer's ecosystem, the entire IT landscape, which can help you prevent outages, prevent certain things from happening. And that's like a big plus for the customer, because they are ultimately serving their business and the IT teams are then able to map to it much better.
Yeah, so Sidharth shared a lot about, systems, processes, and everything. I, being from the marketing background, I say that, everything is good to be in place, like, need to have the systems and everything. But the most important thing that I have noticed in my career is your responsiveness to the customer and the time when he needs you most. If you are available during that time, I think that helps you gain the trust, which is what we have been talking in the first session. And that's the most important key to in B2B business. It could be any business, but in B2B, this is the only trump card you can say you have to win the customer. So that brings me to another question that might help SMEs here. Like any quick example you would like to give of a successful revenue diversification strategy from Persistent?
Right. So we've been talking about Gen AI since morning, so I'll take that as an example. We've been focusing on artificial intelligence for many years, and we've been working with the who's who in the industry for developing their AI offerings as well from a product engineering perspective. So Persistent, actually the name itself comes from data persistency. So we've been in the business of AI and working with the customers for a long time. But recently, with the new changes which are coming in, right, we've worked very closely with AWS to take its Code Whisperer offering to the market. And the way we have done it, supported it, is we've trained almost 16,000 people in Persistent on basic skills around Code Whisperer. Along with that, you have the Microsoft GitHub Copilot as well. And we've done a comparative study about 3 target groups where people using no GenAI tools, people using Microsoft tool and the AWS tool, and see what was the productivity differentiation. So almost 28 to 30% of productivity was gained by using these GenAI tools. And the acknowledgement of that effort has come recently this week at the AWS reInvent. The AWS CEO, Adam Selinsky, has acknowledged Persistent for partnering with AWS for the Code Whisperer. So that, I think, along with all the other, we've signed a strategic agreement with AWS as well for collaboration. I think this is going to be a good revenue diversification strategy for us, and long term as well.
We are also, as I shared, we are SME, and it's important to continuously look at the clues that you get from certain projects or certain implementation that you make, and create some strategy for diversification. Just to give you an example, like we have a product that we are very proud of today. The big auto companies in India, they use our product, which is called Cost It Right. Now, this was just implementation at one of the client side, and we picked it up as an opportunity, created an entire product around it, and today the companies like Uno, Minda, and a lot of them, those who rely on the best of the ERPs, they are using that particular product. So it's important to realize those opportunities, those gaps, and pick up those gaps as a clue to build some different revenue stream. So that's really important for an SME. That comes to an end for our conversation, and thank you so much. If there are any questions, anything from the audience, I would be happy to take for us. Yeah.
Sid, you mentioned about Code Whisperer and Copilot. What are the things you see coming in next few generations of, let's say, GPT, which will change the life of a developer, software developer and software programmer for ages, is a safe. He's automating other people's job. Now, for the first time, his work is being automated. So what is your view on that?
So basically, prompt engineering is in very nascent stage. Everybody is still exploring the best use cases for how to take it further. But definitely, based on our recent experience and the initial dabbling that we've done with it, it's definitely going to help improve the productivity big time. Now, what challenges that brings to the fore is traditionally, I think in one of the previous sessions, we heard about pricing based on effort. Now, this is going to be a non-linear outcome that is going to come because of the tools on the prompt engineering side. So it's still a wait and watch kind of thing. It's going to evolve over a period of time. There are so many services that you develop using Gen AI. It's going to take the effort away. You yourself talked about 4 lines of code versus thousands of lines of code. Now, are you going to say that to the customer and pass on everything? Or how are you going to work around that? So things are evolving. It's, I think, too early to comment which way it will go, but it's definitely here to stay. Everybody is looking for different use cases around this Chat GPT or Gen AI, and I think it will evolve over a period of time.
Any more? So thank you so much for this insightful session.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, audience, for your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Sunita, for giving us all the insights on how strategies can elevate and escalate any business and organization. I would like to request Avinash Sethi to come on stage and facilitate Sidharth and Sunita. Thank you, Avinash, Sidharth, and Sunita.